We left Earth as a tomb, a silent white marble drifting through the void, a planet-wide glacier, thousands of feet thick, silencing a world that was once vibrant and orange. This was the cost of progress, a global catastrophe triggered by the very oxygen that was meant to be life's greatest gift. For 300 million years, the survivors were prisoners in their own home. Huddled in the darkness, life clung to the only warmth left, the volcanic fires of the deep ocean floor. These were the prokaryotes. They were simple, they were microscopic, and they were running out of time. Locked in a biological stalemate, they could grow no larger. They could evolve no further. Evolution had reached its limit, and the hunger was becoming desperate. But deep in the shadows of this white hell, an accidental act of cannibalism was about to occur. An event so radical, it would trigger the most important upgrade in the history of the universe. For 2 billion years, the rules of life were simple. Eat, divide, repeat. These were the prokaryotes, the bacteria and archaea. On the outside, they were incredibly diverse, but on the inside, they were empty. No internal organs, no central vault for their DNA. Just a loose bag of chemicals floating in the sea. They were the most efficient survivors on Earth, but they had hit a biological ceiling. You see, to grow bigger, a cell needs more energy. But to produce more energy, a cell needs more surface area. It was a mathematical trap. A bacterium can never be the size of a cat, or even a grain of sand. They were stuck in the microscopic world forever. While the Earth above them slowly thawed from its icy prison, life below was waiting for a spark, a way to break the laws of physics. They didn't know it yet, but the solution wouldn't come from a new mutation. It would come from a crime. Around 1.5 billion years ago, a massive cell, a giant compared to its neighbors, was hunting in the murky depths. We'll call it the cannibal. It was hungry, and it had cornered a smaller, nimble bacterium. This small bacterium had a secret. While others struggled with the toxic oxygen in the water, this little organism had learned to breathe it. It was a living, breathing oxygen processor. The cannibal attacked. It opened its membrane and swallowed the smaller cell whole. In any other era, this would be the end of the story. The small cell would be dissolved by enzymes, turned into fuel, and forgotten. But something went wrong. Perhaps the cannibal's enzymes failed. Perhaps the small cell's walls were too tough. Instead of being digested, the small cell sat inside its captor, alive. And then it did something incredible. It began to pay rent. It processed the surrounding oxygen and pumped out massive amounts of pure energy, ATP, directly into the cannibal's body. The predator and the prey had just become partners. This was the birth of endosymbiosis. This small captive was the ancestor of the mitochondria. By keeping its prey alive, the host cell had just acquired a high-performance engine. Suddenly, the energy stalemate was broken. With 15 times more energy than it ever had before, the cell began to do the impossible. It grew. It developed internal highways to move nutrients. It grew complex organs called organelles to handle different tasks. This was the eukaryote, the supercell. With all this new power, life needed a way to protect its expanded blueprints. It built a central vault, the nucleus. It locked its DNA behind a double-layered membrane, shielding the instructions for life from the chaos of the outside world. The eukaryote was now the most advanced piece of engineering in the known universe. It was bigger, stronger, and more become truly great, life was about to invent the one thing that would change the world forever. It was time for life to learn how to die. Next time on Before Time Began, the invention of death.